Jai Hind all, myself Amita Asthana from AKGC Ghaziabad. In this video lecture, we will study some Laplace transform concepts. Here we start the Laplace transform. According to the AK2 syllabus, it is in unit 3rd. Now coming to the Laplace transform, as we all know, the Laplace transform is existing for some function, defined function xt, if and only if the function is absolutely integrable in the time domain and it has some finite number of maximas and finite number of minima, and also it should have some finite number of discontinuities in the defined interval of xt. But here we can state then that whenever we are talking about the existence of the Laplace transform, sometimes if the function is not integrable, then but the function is converging to some points, then we can say the Laplace transform is still existing. That means it is possible that for the convergence, if the convergence is there but absolutely integrable property is not going to be satisfied, then also the Laplace transform is existing. So here, coming to the unilateral Laplace transform. The unilateral Laplace transform is single-sided or one-sided Laplace transform. That means if maybe the function is defined here in the left side or here in the right side. So for signals which are one-sided and they are existing for the 0 value for t is less than 0, then only we can say this is a positive time signal. And if it is positive time signal, then the signal can be causal also. So unilateral Laplace transform, as we all know, the Laplace transform formula, that is x is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity xt e raised to the power minus st dt. Then if my function is one-sided, then my limit will go from 0 to infinity, and this 0 to infinity xt e raised to the power minus st, and I can calculate the x's. Now what is S? S is nothing but sigma plus j omega, as we all know, and already we have this S plane. Here it is the sigma and here it is the j omega axis. This sigma is known as real part of S and this j omega is known as imaginary part of S. So we can write this as S is equal to sigma plus j omega, and here the function becomes 0 to infinity xt e raised to the power minus sigma t e raised to the power minus j omega t. Now let us check the convergency of this particular integration. Because mod of e j omega t is equal to 1, and we can say the integral is converging whenever this is less than infinity. Okay. If integration 0 to infinity xt e raised to the power minus sigma t mod is dt is less than infinity, then we can say the signal is converging and hence the Laplace transform exists. Let us calculate the Laplace transform of some important function, like we can take a impulse function example, and we define the impulse function del t is equal to 1 for t is equal to 0 and for all values it is 0. That means impulse function, if I draw that at t is equal to 0, this is 1, and all the values for all t is less than 0 or t is greater than 0, it is going to be 0. So for all t it is 0, and if t is equal to 0, this del t is equal to 1. Now whenever we are calculating the Laplace transform, also always remember that the ROC is very important parameter. We need to find out the region of convergence. So find out the region of convergence is after we calculate the x's. So let us calculate the x's first. So for calculation of x's, we need to write this formula 0 to infinity del t e raised to the power minus st dt, and that will be, since it is only existing for t is equal to 0, so the value of integration will become 1. Since this is a constant number, okay, the signal is converging for all s. It's not a function of s, so x's is a constant value here. So we can say the ROC is the entire S-plane. The ROC, here I have mentioned here, this ROC is total entire plane. That means the signal, since it is constant value, so impulse function, the ROC is entire S-plane. Now coming to the next example, that is UT, and UT we know that UT is 1, okay, for all t greater than equal to 0. So my limit will obviously go to 0 to infinity. That means I will put this value to be 1, and here I will be left only with e raised to the power minus st, and since all the values at the left side it is 0, then I can put an integrating it for the limit 0 to infinity, and putting this values, I can get this 1 upon s. Now, so what about 1 upon s? See, 1 upon s, now coming to the ROC, so, because whenever we are calculating the Laplace transform, we are always interested for the region of convergence. So I have this x's is equal to 1 upon s. So my ROC will be all values. This, if I write it as 1 upon real of s plus j imaginary of s, okay. So I can say that the ROC is right side of the S-plane, okay. The right side of the S-plane will define the ROC. How I am saying this? See, what is the logic? Because see, whenever we are having this 1 upon s, this, as you increase the value of this real part of s, if you are increasing the value, it is converging to 0. It is a decaying type of graph, and if you decrease the value here, so in the negative side the mod of the function will get reduced, but if I compare the actual value in negative, then I will say the function is increasing type. So I cannot take the ROC at the left side of the S-plane, and in fact here is a I can say is the fundamental, which is that whenever always remember, then whenever this is UT here, the ROC will be taken at the right side of the S-plane. That means we will take this particular side. For the UT, we are going to take this particular side, the region of convergence, we will not see this particular side. Always go by this. See here, calculate the pole and locate the pole and take the ROC to the right side of the S-plane. So this is the fundamental which we use to find out the region of convergence for the Laplace transform. So here, next, the Laplace transform ut, as we can say this 1 upon s, and the region of convergence is, we will locate the pole here, and then region of convergence will be the entire S plane, but on the right side of the imaginary axis. Now let us calculate the Laplace transform of another function, that is ramp function. Let's say it is t into ut. Now again I would like to mention here that whenever I am calculating this t ut, so again I should have in my mind that the ROC will be whatever will be the ROC, it will be the right side, it will be right side of the pole. Whatever pole we find out, then we can take the ROC at the right side of the pole. So here let us calculate the simple integration, and since it is ut, so I will put 0 to infinity. Here I should keep it like minus infinity, and 0 to infinity t raised to the power minus st, solving the limit, and we can have this 1 upon s square. Again I am getting the pole at 0, s is equal to 0. That means when s is equal to sigma plus j omega. Okay, so one more concept I would like to tell you. We see this real part of S. For calculation of the region of convergence, we see the real part of S always. We are not looking at the imaginary axis, but we calculate the region of convergence by considering the real part of S. That means by considering the sigma value from here. So since the poles are coming at s is equal to 0, if I solve it, I will get two poles at 0, and if I plot the ROC, I will get the ROC as, here is the ROC, the right side of the S plane. Now coming to another function, we will calculate same for the parabolic function, that is t square ut. So t square ut, I will again I would like to tell that whenever we are taking this ut here, so the ROC will be at the right side. So the simple integration, we will apply the formula and putting the limit 0 to infinity t square e raised to power minus st, and if we calculate this particular integration, then we get this this is the simple integration. If we want to solve like 0 to infinity t square e raised to power minus st, then I will have to apply the first function into second function integration rule. Okay, so since this is a multiplication of one function t square and another function is e raised to power minus st, so we can apply this formula. First of all, we will multiply this function taking the integration of e raised to the power minus st dt and putting the limit. This is what the multiplication integration formula says, and then 0 to infinity we will put the limit d by dt of the first function, that is 2t. Okay, and again I will integrate the second function e raised to power minus st, and that will come out to be e raised to power minus st upon minus s, and after that we will multiply, and again we are left with this 2 by s t e raised to the power minus st. We will put the limit after solving this integration, and again the same formula is to be applied, putting the limit. That means now I have first function this t and second function is e raised to the power minus st. So I will multiply this t into integration of e raised to the power minus st, and here it goes 0 to infinity and minus 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus st upon minus s, because d by dt of t will be 1. So here this parameter will not come, and hence we can solve this integration, and again we are getting this 2 upon s cube. And if we look at the ROC part of it, again I am having 3 poles at 0. So if I am having 3 poles at 0, that means if I want to draw the ROC, that this is real part of S and this is imaginary part of S, the ROC will be here obviously. So we are left with one fundamental, that maybe some functions are there, they are not absolutely integrable. I am repeating all these points which I have covered up to this point, that if the function is not absolutely integrable, it may possible its Fourier transform is not existing, but we can't say that its Laplace transform cannot exist. So that's one. Another point, if the Laplace transform is if the Fourier transform is not existing for the given xt, it is possible that the Laplace transform do exist. Second. Third, if the function is ut, if it is multiplied, the signal xt is function in time and it is with ut, then the ROC will be right side. Fourth point is, whenever we are discussing the S for the ROC, we will consider the real part of S always. We will consider the RE of S, that is sigma. So this was the things which we have done up to this. Now next, the Laplace transform of real exponential function. Similarly, we can find out the Laplace transform of e raised to the power at ut. Now coming to this particular, so e raised to the power at ut, since it is again ut, and I will change my limit to 0 to infinity, and putting this formula e raised to the power minus s minus a upon t, and for e raised to the power ut, by putting all the limits I can get the answer as 1 upon s minus a. This simple integration can be solved. Now see here that e raised to the power at ut is 1 upon s minus a. Now calculate the pole. The pole is at a. Consider this a to be a positive, imaginary of s, and it is real of s. So draw a line here. Draw a line. Okay. The ROC will be the right side of the A. So now the ROC will be real part of S must be greater than A. So and hence we can find out the ROC by simple calculation of the pole, and then we can get the real part of S to be greater than A. So here as we can see, the ROC is the sigma, that is real part of S, and that should be greater than A. So this sigma real part of S, and this is complete the ROC of this particular function. So and hence we can get the ROC of any Laplace transform we are calculating. Now coming to the next example, complex exponential function. Considering e raised to the power j omega t, again we need to solve the integration. All the time we are solving this, and since here it is ut, again the ROC will go right side of the of whatever the pole will be. So here e raised to the power j omega t, e raised to the power minus st. So e raised to the power minus s minus j omega t. Just solve this and we can get this 1 upon s minus j omega. Now coming to the ROC part of it again. So it is an example that is consisting of complex exponential function. So the ROC, let us consider the ROC. Now I am saying that ROC is real part of s is greater than 0. Why? Because I told you in the beginning that whenever we are considering this as s plus j omega or whatever, so we will consider only real part of s, and since it is not having the real part of s and that is 0, so this real part of s is greater than 0 is still where the pole is existing at j omega, but it is not going to put any point, that we are not considering any point on the imaginary axis. Just for ROC, to find out the ROC, we need to see the real part of s, and here there is no constant value, and whatever the constant is, that is in terms of j omega. So similarly the ROC will be real part of s greater than 0. Here also for s e raised to power minus j omega t, only the sign will differ and the ROC will be same, a real part of s to be greater than 0. Similarly, we can calculate the Laplace transform for sine and cosine function. xt cos omega t ut sin omega t ut. So since we know that e raised to the power j omega t is equal to cos omega t plus j sin omega t. So I can write e raised to the power minus j omega t as cos omega t minus j sin omega t. If I want to write this cos omega t, then I can add these two and divide by 2, and I can replace this cos omega t in terms of exponential function, and rest part is easy. We can calculate the e raised by j omega t ut as we did before, s minus j omega, and Laplace transform of e raised to power minus j omega t as we have here, e raised to power minus j omega t, that is s plus j omega, e raised to power j omega t s minus j omega. We will just put the value and we will learn these Laplace transform for the given function, and that will be s upon s square plus omega square, and hence again here we can say, since the roots, if you calculate it, you will get the imaginary roots, and we are not seeing the imaginary points for looking at the ROC, so ROC will be real part of s to be greater than 0. So the conclusion for this cos omega t ut, that is s square plus omega square, s upon s square plus omega square, real part of s to be greater than 0. In a similar way we can find out for sin omega t. Here the difference is cos omega t ut, it is s upon s square plus omega square, whereas in the case of sin omega t ut it will be omega upon s square plus omega square, but in both the cases the ROC is same. Now see, there at the last, I would like to tell the same signal, the ROC whatever we are calculating, the Laplace transform whatever we are calculating, it may happen that two signals, if we take x1t and x2t, they are yielding the same Laplace transform, but their ROC may be different. Also, if the ROC is same, it doesn't mean that the original signals are same and their Laplace transform is also same. So this is one point, that x's is may be same but ROC is different. ROC may be equal but their x's are different. So okay, thank you. I hope Now this is Laplace transform is clear to you.